everyone, I'm Jordan Prince, and this is The Moment. In this series, I spotlight moments in music history that leave a lasting impression with the listener and try to figure out how they did it. And today, I want to take a look at this song.
'Cause today I swear I'm not doing anything.
Ew, no. He's done so much better stuff than that. Why would he put that song out? Why do people watch that? Why are there so many views on that song? All the stuff he's doing with Anderson .Paak now is so much better. Have you heard of Silk Sonic? Silk Sonic is this song. That's right, Bob Dylan. No, not that Bob Dylan. No, not that one either. No, that's still not Bob. Is that Bob Dylan? No, not that Bob. This one. Is that right? I think. Often regarded as one of the greatest songwriters of all time, Robert Allen Zimmerman, born in 1941, has been a major figure in popular music for over 60 years. Much of his most celebrated work dates back to the 60s, like Blowin' in the Wind or The Times They Are A-Changin', songs that became anthems for civil rights and anti-war movements. These kinds of lyrics defied pop culture conventions and appealed to the burgeoning counterculture.
Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle jangle morning, I'll come following you.
Born in Duluth, famously in 1941, he was raised in Hibbing, Minnesota. In his early years, he listened to all kinds of radio. You could even say he's
a Radiohead.
He was listening to country and blues from Shreveport, Louisiana. That's right, I must represent. Later, when he was a teenager, he loved listening to rock and roll. When he was attending Hibbing High School, he started different bands and covered artists like Little Richard and Elvis Presley. His performance of the Danny and the Juniors song Rock and Roll Is Here to Stay was so loud that the principal cut the microphone. In the summer of '59, he moved to Minneapolis and attended the University of Minnesota. 1 year later, he dropped out. It was probably the math classes. In 1961, he moved to New York City to perform and to visit his then idol, Woody Guthrie. Guthrie at the time was very ill with Huntington's disease. Guthrie was somewhat of a revelation for Dylan and deeply influenced his early performances, if you couldn't tell. The man sounds like he's doing a cover song. This land is your land, this land is my land. Describing Guthrie's impact, Dylan is quoted saying, "The songs themselves had the infinite sweep of humanity in them. He was the true voice of the American spirit. I said to myself I was going to be Guthrie's greatest disciple." Hallelujah. This land is your land. By the release of Dylan's second album, The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan, he had begun to make a name for himself. Many songs were labeled as protest songs, inspired partly by Guthrie and influenced by Pete Seeger's topical songs. Oxford Town, a personal favorite of mine, is the story of James Meredith, a black student who had the courage to be the first to enroll at the University of Mississippi. In the latter half of 1964, moving into 1965, Dylan evolved from a singer-songwriter into a folk music rock pop star. His jeans and his work shirt were replaced by his Carnaby Street wardrobe, sunglasses day or night, what are you hiding, Robert? And his pointed beetle boots. Oh my goodness, this dear boy has changed. A London reporter wrote that Dylan had hair that would set the teeth of a comb on edge, a loud shirt that would dim the lights of Leicester Square. He looks like an undernourished cockatoo. Gotta say, he had a point. Dylan began to spar with interviewers. Personally, I love that about him. I always found that to be so interesting.
Are you going to participate in the Vietnam Day Committee demonstration in front of the Fairmont Hotel tonight?
I'll be busy tonight.
After Bob Dylan's motorcycle accident in 1966, he morphed into different projects. He did the Basement Tapes with The Band, one of my favorite bands. You know, The Band that plays the music from The Band, had Bob Dylan in the band. There's The Band. Levon Helm was in the band, and Levon Helm's a really good singer and drummer and songwriter for The Band. And there was also The Band, you know, with Garth Hudson, you know, and Richard Manuel. You know The Band, Robbie Robertson, no? Then he shifted into more country albums like Nashville Skyline and New Morning. And then in 1975, he released Blood on the Tracks, which a lot of people saw as a return to form. In the 70s, he became a born-again Christian. He then released a series of contemporary gospel music albums,
which I'm sure so many people bought.
Dylan's 1997 album Time Out of Mind marked a kind of renaissance for his career. Following that, he released 5 critically acclaimed albums, the most recent being his album from 2020, Rough and Rowdy Ways. And Dylan has toured continuously since the 1980s on what he calls the never-ending tour. So, now that we know a little bit, a very little bit, about this man's enormous, widely spanning, award-winning, crazy career, we can talk about today's song. Today we're going to talk about Like a Rolling Stone. I had to choose this one. I mean, it's the most noted of his songs, not only for being so lyrically lush and catchy and memorable and important, but also marking this stage in his career from singer-songwriter into rock icon. And today's story would not be complete without mentioning Al Kooper. The moment of today's song, Like a Rolling Stone, is just about exactly at the 38-second mark, where, if you're paying attention, you'll realize that something is a little off. Something's played a little different from the rest. Of course, I'm talking about the organ. This is the first time that we hear the organ being played behind the beat. Why is that? The great story of Al Kooper and Like a Rolling Stone was told, ironically, most appropriately in the magazine Rolling Stone. Tom Wilson invited Al Kooper to the studio recording of Bob Dylan to simply hang out and enjoy the magic. But he had much bigger plans. He arrived early, ahead of the crowd. He started to establish a cover for himself. In his 1998 book, Backstage Passes and Backstabbing Bastards, by the way, super cool book name, he talks about how he walked into the studio, he brought his guitar, he sat down, he opened up the case, he plugged it in, and he just tried to look like he belonged there. But soon enough, Bloomfield, the guitarist actually hired to be on the track, walked in. Kooper says that Bloomfield commenced playing some of the most amazing guitar he had ever heard. So, embarrassed, he packed up his guitar and he went sulking back into the control room and pretended that he was a journalist from Sing Out magazine. So the same group of people from the previous day entered the studio to work on Like a Rolling Stone. But this time, Paul Griffin moved from the organ to the piano. Kooper knew so little about the organ that he didn't even know how to turn it on. But he was desperate to play on a Bob Dylan song. But when Tom Wilson wasn't looking, Kooper snuck out, sat behind the organ, and thank God, Paul did not turn it off. Imagine this, Kooper wrote in his book. There's no music to read. The song is over 5 minutes long. The band is so loud that I can't even hear the organ, and I'm not familiar with the instrument to begin with, but the tape is rolling, and over there is Bob Dylan, so this better be me sitting right here playing this. Tom Wilson returned and may have been shocked to see Kooper behind the organ, but Dylan liked the sound. Kooper wrote, "You can hear how I waited until the band played the chord before I chimed in." He says, "I'm always an eighth note behind everyone else. I wanted to make sure of the chord before I touched the keys." This unique style of playing not only gave the song a unique component, but it also introduced Dylan to a collaborator that he would continue to work with for years and years. The unique sound of this delayed attack began to become associated with the lyrics of the song, the two eventually becoming married as a single afterthought. The tune is a stream of consciousness hate track, rambling about the poetic uncertainty of the people of the era. This was created organically. This wasn't something planned, but it has been replicated and reimagined and recreated by millions of artists in millions of songs for over the past 50 years. What I mean is, this showed people that a lyric could prepare a canvas for the instrument to paint a picture on. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. How beautiful was that? How poetic is that? Come on. Come on. Where's my YouTube award? Please watch the show. In our video on Queen's Somebody to Love, I talked about word painting, which is an extremely interesting technique that people use to emphasize their words. Dylan wasn't using word painting in this song, but he was using what I like to call musical mirroring. So why don't we try something like that? Let's make a song where the lyric is the guiding point for how the music should be played. For example, stop, go could be palm muting. Low and high, up and down could be literal volume control, dynamics. Love and hate could be major chords and minor chords. But I don't want to do more than just one idea per song because you want to have this sort of special element. The organ is the delayed, confused person of the era. So maybe I think about love and hate, and the guitar chords going from major to minor can emphasize that feeling of confusion, loving and hating the same person. All right, so I picked up my rusty old axe here, actually a beautiful little old acoustic guitar. I thought of some chords that we can play, C to A minor, E minor to F, except I'm playing with my trusty capodasta. My capo is on, so all of that is up a half step. Good luck transposing. I didn't pass calculus class, so I won't be doing that for you. But let me show you what those chords look like. And I have a click track here up to 120 beats per minute. It's just the default setting when you open up a GarageBand file. Otherwise, everything is about as simple and straightforward as you can imagine. I have a guitar. I'm playing it into my Shure SM7 microphone. You can also plug it in directly. I just like the way it sounds when you mic up a guitar. All of this is plugged into my Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 audio interface, all connecting into the most updated version of GarageBand for Mac. So minimal equipment, basic equipment, anybody can do this. I'm gonna lay down some guitar here, and then I'm gonna write some text. Let's check out what the final song sounds like. In 2016, Bob Dylan was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature. He created new poetic expression within the great American song tradition. It's hard to hate on the man. I mean, it's hard to hate on the man, but you know, I mean, I love him. I love him. Although I would never want to meet him. He's like one hero I would never want to meet. I mean, I love the guy. The music is just unbelievable. Do I want to meet the guy? No. I'm good. I'm sure he's kind of a jerk. I don't know, maybe, but a little bit of a jerk, probably. But a genius, but a little bit of a jerk. Is there another song by another artist that you think has a great moment that I should cover in this series? Well, just like the wind, blow on over to the comments and write it down, and then the times they are changing from not subscribed to subscribe. Hit the notification bell. You know the drill. It's YouTube. Thank you so much for watching.
Rock and roll.